Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to show you how to install the Low Pro from RealTruck on the Mitsubishi Triton L200. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket, scissors, a squeeze clamp, isopropyl alcohol with paper towels or lint-free cloth. I'll also be using some string. It's not required, but it can be helpful. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, now starting off, I want to point out the bulkhead seal. If you have black plastic bed cap covers, that's going to be a little higher up than your bulkhead, and so the bulkhead seal will actually kind of make that a flat surface going across even. If you have those, you'll want to wipe down this surface with rubbing alcohol first, and then apply the bulkhead seal down to the top of the bed cap as far back as possible on the bulkhead as you can. Go from one bed cap all the way to the other and trim it into place. Make sure that it's covering this little gap to seal that off. Since we do not have black plastic bed cap covers, what I'm going to do is use the block seal. Now, we have the Husky Premium bed liner installed, so I'm going to pull this back. I've already trimmed back a little bit of the Velcro that went across here. This is the block seal. Now that's going to be installed right here, and you want to make sure that you have about an 1/8 inch or about 3 centimeters protruding up above the level of your bulkhead seal. Now I'm going to go ahead and wipe off this surface with rubbing alcohol so that I get a good bond, and then I'm going to repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, so this is our driver's side rail. On the back of the driver's side rail, we're going to have the trigger latch that faces towards the tailgate. Now, if I flip this over, I want to point out we've got our side seal that rests up against the side of the bed cap. And here we've got our top seal that's going to hang on top of the bed cap. Now, sometimes when you put this up against there, part of that top seal will get wedged in between the side seal and the bed cap. So I'm going to show you a quick tech tip on how to relieve that. So what we're going to do is take a piece of string, and we're going to work it in between the top seal and the side seal. And you'll see how it just kind of falls right into that little groove. And now we can go ahead and set this up onto the bed cap. All right, now up at the front corner of the rail, we want to make sure the rail is about 3/8 of an inch or about 20 millimeters away from the bulkhead. Now, if you have a ratchet with a 3/8 driver, you can just use that 3/8 driver as a spacer. Go between there and then slide it up to the driver. Now we are right at 3/8 of an inch, exactly where we need to be. So we're going to take a squeeze clamp, come up underneath here, and just kind of hold that in place temporarily. Now what I'm going to do is take one of our clamps from our kit. I'm going to loosen that clamp up so I can spread it apart. You'll notice that the teeth on this clamp will match the grooves that are in this rail. I'm going to bring this up and get it lined up to the rail, as high up as it will go. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and square where the teeth are matched into the grooves on the rail. And tighten it by hand first. I'm going to take the socket and by hand, just get it nice and snug, and do the same with the other two clamps. The front clamp we're going to place about 8 inches, roughly 20 centimeters back from the bulkhead. and the rear about 8 inches or about 20 centimeters back from the tailgate area. All right, now we're going to take a look at this top seal. And we'll see that a lot of that top seal is wedged in between the truck bed cover and between the rail and the bed cap. So I'm going to go ahead and start peeling this out. As I go, it can be helpful to bear down slightly on the rail. Now we can go ahead and finish tightening down all 3 of our clamps. All right, make sure this shelf on the rail is level with the top of the bed cap. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. All right, now also in your kit, we're gonna have this bulb seal right here. It's got a little leg on there. What this is gonna do, this is gonna go right up into this location and provide the seal just on the back side of our rail. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it out to this point here so we know where to cut it. Take a pair of scissors, cut that off. Before we stick it into place, we're also going to take some isopropyl alcohol and wipe down the surface that the adhesive will be contacting. And now we're just going to go ahead and peel back the adhesive protector and set it in place. Make sure that this edge is right up to the top of where your bed cap is. And repeat the process on this other side. All right, now each one of your rails is going to have 3 relief cuts that are cut into it. We need to cover those edges. We've got edge guards that are in the kit. Now in that edge guard, there is a bead of adhesive on the back side of it that runs along the inside. We want to make sure that we press that in nice and tight so the adhesive bonds to the inside of the rail. So be helpful to start by sliding that in and then bear in nice and tight. And repeat the same on the opposite side. Now here is the cover as it comes out of the box. We want to have this oriented so that when this comes over, this rubber flap is going to lay over top of the bulkhead. And we want to make sure that these straps go down into the bed of the truck. When this rotates over, this needs to be to the inside, and this portion here needs to be just in front of this spring. We're going to do that for both sides. Then this piece right here, when it falls over, is going to engage the bottom of the rail. So let's go ahead and fold this over. All right, now let's go underneath and engage it. Okay, now ensure that the strap is falling down into the bed. Then right up here, we're going to go ahead and slide this to the side. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, now the first time you roll the cover back to the tailgate, what you want to do is first lift up and pull back on the tarp. Get it back away from the bulkhead. Then also, this is a floating hook and loop system. So what we need to do is lift up. This can actually slide back and forth. So we want to make sure it's slid all the way forward on both sides. And next we can go ahead and start rolling it back towards the tailgate. When we get it back to the tailgate, the tail panel needs to rotate into here and then rotate down, and it will latch to the trigger latch on this side. So make sure it's lined up on both of these here, and then rotate it down, lock it in place. Next, we can go ahead and fix Velcro on the sides. Okay, now the best way to get a good seal when we lift up the tailgate is first raise the end of the cover up, close the tailgate, and close the cover onto the tailgate. Well, that concludes the installation. Now my truck looks great. I can keep my gear protected, or I can roll the cover up to haul the taller cargo.